Day 3. Today we are doing German chocolate cupcakes, rolled cake, and red velvet brownies. My concerns for the cupcakes, since they are brown due to them being chocolate, it's going to be hard to see or eyeball when they're ready. So I feel like they may be a little overdone. To combat that, I'm going to check them halfway through. So if the recipe says bake for 30 minutes, I'm going to check for 15.
A win is a win. A win is a win. I don't care.
For the rolled cakes, I'm concerned about cracking when trying to actually roll the cake. I'm concerned it's going to be too thin. I'm going to be doing a little heart design. I'm going to have to pipe the hearts and then put the batter on top of it so I can get that cute layer design. Nervous that it won't turn out how I want it to turn out. So to combat some of those, I'm going to pre-roll the cake when it comes out of the oven. I'm going to let it sit for like 10 minutes. I'm going to try and roll it so that it kind of is pre-shaped so that it won't be too hard to actually roll it when the time comes. When the time comes. When the time comes. When the time comes. Roll. When the time comes. Roll it.
Cut the cameras.
The red velvet brownies, I'm afraid the consistency won't be right. I've tried to make brownies once and I don't know if I had the wrong cocoa powder or I didn't put enough sugar or what it was, but it was bitter. It was cakey. It wasn't the signature chewy, fudgy brownie texture. I'm afraid that I'm not gonna have the right color. It's not gonna be a deep enough red for me. So in order to combat those things, I'm going to follow my steps efficiently. That's what I wrote down. Yeah, that's really all I can do. Just follow the steps, make sure and hope that this is a good recipe. That was one of the most hectic days. I ran out of eggs. I ran out of cocoa powder. I had just enough eggs to make the rolled cake and to make the cupcake. I had to borrow one egg from my family. I lost the keys, so my tasters had to come to my house and pick up their things. Because I couldn't find the keys, that threw the whole day off, and it was because I was tired, and guess where the keys ended up? They ended up in the trash.
You have a couple coffees?
Absolutely, boy. You too make this place.
Because what happened was, I went to the store, I had a whole bunch of bags in my hands. The keys were hanging from one hand like this, and the bags were hanging from the other hand. I come inside, I drop the bags, unpack everything, and I guess the keys end up inside one of those bags, and I throw them away. It was a crazy, crazy, crazy day. Oh my goodness. I love it, I love it, I love it. But I'm so ready to be able to get a full night's rest. Here are my results for day 3. My cupcakes kind of caved in the middle as they were baking. I don't know why that could have happened. I have to look into that. It was only a few of them though, and then the rest of them kind of filled out on their own. I think it could do with how thin the batter was. The batter wasn't thick as I imagined a cake batter being. So the recipe was also used for a cake. It was supposed to be for a round cake, but I used it for cupcakes. So I don't know if that could have made a difference. The cupcakes were so moist in the middle, and it was crumbly. I cooked them perfectly. I made an espresso whipped cream, and it matched really, really well itself. That's another thing I'm going to be working on in the near future. I want to get down to the basics first, and then once I have the basics, I want to start playing around with flavors. But all that being said, the espresso, the icing, went very well with the German cupcakes, seeing as the German cupcake had coffee in them as well. The cupcake itself was not that sweet. I was having problems the day before. I always underfill or overfill my cupcakes so they don't rise enough or they rise too much. I want them to rise a little bit more next time. Strawberry cupcakes, I went in with 1 tablespoon and they were still just a little bit underfilled. So today I went in and I used a 2 tablespoons. Those gave me a little bit more favorable results. So I think I'm gonna go forward with that. My icing was not stiff enough, so when I was piping it, it would fall a little bit and it wouldn't really hold its shape. I also need to put that on my list. I need to get bigger piping tips because the ones I have now are too small and the icing is just coming out in tiny portions rather than the big fluffy luxurious cupcake tops that you see. They still look pretty good, but it's just that tiny detail that is kind of messing with me. I baked these for 25 to 30 minutes until the toothpick came out clean. For the rolled cake didn't make it, y'all. The rolled cake was a dud. It was all the things that I was worried about. It was too thin. It was giving me fortune cookie vibes in texture and in flavor. It was a very bland recipe. It wasn't very spongy. Like, it was spongy, but it wasn't fluffy. So something was off with that. I think I maybe mixed it too much or something. I may have overworked the batter. On the flip side though, the design that I was going for, it worked really well. So that was really cool. I think I'm gonna use that in the future. I baked that for 30 minutes. May have been slightly overbaked as well. So not may have, it was overbaked, which could have contributed to the texture being not so spongy but being kind of spongy at the same time. Red velvet brownies, they were perfect. They came out so chewy and fudgy, and the corners, I'm a corner girl, so the corners were my favorite. They tasted just like a box brownie that I love, Betty Crocker box brownies that I eat all the time, which I probably shouldn't, but the design, I had to use cream cheese to make the design. So I had to dollop that and then dollop the regular batter on top and do a little swirl. My swirl didn't come out too well, but the concept itself was really cool. So I definitely want to play with that a little bit more in the future. The cream cheese gave it a different texture and a different taste. That was really good. I baked that at 30 minutes as well. So I'm going to try and keep track of how long I baked these things for, just so that I have that in the forefront of my mind. That was it for day 3. If you see me in the same outfit, that's because I'm filming 2 and 3 at the same time. So after I record this, I'm gonna go in the kitchen. It's 1:03 a.m. right now. So I have a lot to do, and I don't think I'm gonna be getting very much sleep tonight. Yay, baking! Day 4? Yeah, day 4. Today is puff pastry day. I'm spending the whole day doing puff pastry creations. I'm going to be using recipe from Pinterest. I'm going to be making 3 portions of puff pastry dough in order to have enough to make raspberry triangle danishes, strawberry heart danishes, and I'm going to do spiral wheel spinach puff pastry. In order to do all that, puff pastry has to be what we call turned every couple of times. And since I have so many portions that I'm going to be making today, I don't think I'm going to be sleeping tonight. And if I do, it's probably not going to be more than maybe 3 hours. I'm going to get an early head start on my turns on my dough, giving my dough time to rest so that in the morning I don't have to do more than 3 turns while ensuring I still have those nice layers. My concerns for that, not enough layers that kind of stick together and not give me that flaky rise that I'm looking for. I'm worried about my heart and my spirals not looking like hearts and spirals. These are new configurations for me. I'm just used to cutting out squares or circles or something and putting my filling in and then calling it a day. But I'm going to be making some artsy configurations that require a little bit more skill, so I'm worried about that. I think that's all of my concerns for right now, but seeing as I got my croissants so well done, I don't think I'm gonna have too many problems with that. But yeah, we'll see. It's gonna be a very challenging day. No, interesting day. Okay, so The days have blurred. I don't remember what day I'm on. I don't remember if I did an update for the puff pastry day. So let's give a recap. I found out through trial and error, more error than trial, but I found out that the bottom half of my oven is a lot hotter than the top half, which is obvious to a lot of bakers. But I made the puff pastry, and whatever ones I put on the bottom, they got burnt. Not burnt, but they got extra caramelized on the bottom because they were still very good, but they had that charred bottom on it, which I didn't really like. What else? My layers were exquisite. My layers were beautiful. I feel like the puff pastry itself was a little too flaky, like it had too many layers, but I don't know if there's really such thing as too many layers. My presentation was beautiful. I loved it. It was very, very fun to make. I had so much fun making them. The strawberries and the raspberries that I put on, they tend to slide off as they're baking, so I have to figure out a way to combat that, maybe put less or situate them on a little bit better. But other than that, I think puff pastry day was a success.